these issues happening across the country, and what does that mean for branch campuses?
An inside look at how Ohio University's School of Fine Arts has found a way to buck the enrollment decline trend.
And how Ohio House Bill 27 may be changing how colleges report their price tag.
Really interested to see what Ohio will look like in 5 years.
With intel coming to Columbus, why colleges are changing how they prepare students for the workforce.
And a U.S. Supreme Court decision and an Ohio Senate bill could change the course of diversity and inclusion on college campuses. Plus, a new president is on her way to OU, and we will tell you what you need to know.
NewsWatch starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Lexi Lepoff.
And I'm Audrey Knowles. Welcome to NewsWatch. Over the last decade, college enrollment has taken a hit as prospective college students question the value of a college education. While some students struggle with rising costs, others have decided heading straight into the workforce is a better option.
With the COVID-19 pandemic and a dip in population for Americans under 18, there are several reasons why universities across the country have seen this decline. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, total undergraduate enrollment between 2011 and 2020 dropped by 12%, with the biggest decrease of 3% occurring due to the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. Here in Ohio, enrollment numbers reflect this trend. According to Ohio's Department of Higher Education, enrollment numbers dropped by 5% in 2011 to 2020. At Ohio University, undergraduate enrollment overall at the Athens campus decreased 12% from 2011 to 2020. Vice President for Enrollment and Management Candace Boeninger attributes the decline to a lack of effective marketing tools. This year, the university seemingly bucked the trend after accepting a record freshman class.
Boeninger commented on the uptick, accounting the increase to several changes. During the pandemic, she said OU was able to continue campus tours while other institutions were closed, showing a commitment to the campus experience. Boeninger, as the university's communications and marketing teams have worked to realign the ways in which they share OU's message to reach more audiences.
OU has also implemented station-embedded recruiters across the state and the country to reach high school students where they're at. Looking forward, she says the incoming class at OU is in a strong position.
College affordability is another factor families weigh when making decisions about higher education after high school. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, tuition and fees for the 2020-2021 school year at public four-year institutions were 10% higher compared to a decade ago, and student loan debt is not a pretty picture. As of March 2022, 21% of borrowers owed between $10,000 and $20,000 in federal student loans, and in 2020 and 2021, 54% of bachelor degree recipients from public and private nonprofit four-year colleges and universities graduated with debt, the average amount of $29,100.
To understand where Ohio University falls in this, audiences must understand the difference between cost of attendance versus tuition and fees. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, OU falls in the middle for cost of attendance at four-year public colleges and universities during 2022. But you look at only the tuition and fees during 2022, the Ohio Department for Higher Education shows OU is the third most expensive school in the state. Even though the price is high, OU isn't really receiving all that money. That's due to the discount rate, which is a calculation which finds how much of a student's tuition is being subsidized by university scholarships. Over 1/4 of the revenue from tuition and fees on average is being discounted, this from 2019. And OU predicts this average is only increasing. This isn't just happening at OU, but for colleges all over the country, both public and private.
In the past, current OU President Hugh Sherman and members of OU's Board of Trustees have said the continuous increase in discount rate is not sustainable. While Ohio University did not comment on what it's doing to address this concern, Boeninger emphasizes OU's dedication to an affordable education.
Strategies that we have in place to support our students evolve with the needs of students over time, and we'll continue to modify those strategies and make sure that we're meeting the students' needs as they're coming in.
With the cost of college tuition on the rise, students and parents across the country are choosing majors with typically high returns on investment.
NewsWatch reporters Emma Dolemayer and Taylor Mondragon tell us more.
Lexi and Andre, many majors such as business and nursing are seeing higher numbers in enrollment compared to others at Ohio University.
Much of this due to the security students believe the major offers post-graduation. And while other majors like communication and education aren't growing like business and nursing, one program is bucking the trend. Enrollment in the fine arts program is up as much as 55% in only 5 years.
We spoke with those heavily involved in the school's recent success to see what the school is doing to reach these numbers.
Many parents are pushing their kids to study fields with high job security post-graduation. And fine arts isn't one with a reputation for high-paying jobs after college.
I think for a lot of parents and for a lot of students as well, going into the arts, there's a sense that there's a riskier choice than going to, say, business or something like that.
It is what Marcy Yoho and her husband originally thought when their son Robbie, who's majoring in musical theater, decided he wanted to pursue the arts.
Junior year of high school, Robbie came to us and said, I really think I'd like to study this in college. And my husband, who has a master's in electrical engineering and an MBA, looked at him and said, but wouldn't you like to be a pharmacist?
The social cognitive dissonance is that the arts equals hamburger flipping.
It's that attitude Dean Shaftel is working to change by ensuring students get to practice their craft their first year of school to better prepare them to find work in the arts.
We are able to say to our incoming students, you will not live in your parents' basement when you graduate. You will have a job.
Opportunities like working on films, performing in shows, and collaborating with other majors right out the gate is what makes this possible. Justin Daring, the assistant professor of instruction for the School of Film, says this is exactly the case for film students.
So much of what happens in film learning takes place on the set, which is a space that the students create outside of the classroom.
The program working to make school more affordable for its students by offering more financial aid and scholarships, leaving the program with a good problem to have, a lot of new freshmen in the fall.
I don't know what we're going to do with all the students, but it's working. What's happening is students are going off and they're getting jobs and then they're telling their friends, oh, you should go to Ohio University.
Dean Shaftel says enrollment rates are already up 38% for next year.
He says the program has also doubled its out-of-state enrollment and only anticipates that number will keep growing.
Thank you, Emma and Taylor. We're now heading over to NewsWatch reporter Jacob Mata at the Ohio State House, where he's telling us about a House bill trying to make colleges more financially transparent.
A new bill is working its way through here at the State House called the Higher Education Return on Investment Act, or House Bill 27. Under the bill, all colleges and universities will be required to be transparent with financial information that will benefit both current and incoming college students. The bill will require colleges and universities to provide a breakdown of all the costs of school in one simple form, according to Representative Adam Matthews.
Tuition, room and board if it's available at the time that the financial aid disclosure's given, or a reasonable estimate, as well as all mandatory fees.
This information is necessary for incoming college students because some colleges and universities will not disclose the amount of room and board or fees up front, according to both representatives. Instead, it could be listed as to be determined, leaving students and families wondering how much they will really be paying. Tom Young, chair of the Higher Education Committee, also wants to help end an issue he feels is the main reason as to why young adults aren't getting a college education.
The biggest thing that we don't want to have, which has always plagued higher education in the past and students, is huge debt.
The bill will also require colleges and universities to provide a salary range at graduation for 25 to 75% of graduates, as well as salary ranges 5 years out for 25 to 75% of similar graduates.
I think it's good to go in with transparency and your eyes wide open, so to speak, so you know how much you're likely to earn immediately, and then a few years later.
This allows students to know how much they'll make after graduation so they can have a plan to pay off their student loans before they leave college.
There are programs that we've used to help reduce debt in Ohio, but we haven't done anything on the front end. And so this is a front end effort so we don't get to the back end crises.
At Ohio University, the Vice President for Enrollment Management, Candace Bonninger, wants to make sure that families of potential students have everything they need to make a decision about OU when it comes to price.
And they can have that conversation around the coffee table or the dining room table and say, what can we expect, not just for 1 year, but for the course of their entire degree. No hidden fees, just making sure that they've got all of that information at their fingertips so they can make a really informed decision.
Working alongside the Inter-University Council, both representatives hope the bill could be voted out of committee next week and passed within the next month. If passed, the bill will go into effect the following academic year. For NewsWatch, I'm Jacob Mata at the State House.
Thanks, Jacob. Lead digital producer Jack Green is here to share where you can find these stories after the show ends.
Thanks, Andre. Yeah, you can find them all on social media this week. Go to NewsWatch's Instagram and Twitter at newswatch_WOUB and find us on YouTube at WOUB PBS. While you're there, go ahead and give us a follow.
Well, when we come back, Ohio University's branch campuses are facing the same enrollment struggles as the main campus. Why that is, and what OU is doing. Plus, intel is on its way to Columbus and how it's affecting college campuses. Coming up.
ALS causes the degeneration of the neurons that control muscle movement.
We don't quit. That's our motto.
What I do for my wife, I do it because I love her, and no one can do this alone.
My hope is it goes from being a fatal disease to a chronic disease that you can live with.
Matter of Mind, My ALS. Monday, May 1st at 10/9 Central on Independent Lens.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, when your family inheritance is more than a sentimental keepsake.
The family lore has always been that these were painted by Charles Wilson Peale.
The market for portraiture in general seems to be a little bit soft, but there are exceptions, and these would be an exception.
This has been in my family for 4 generations.
It's a great piece of folk art.
It's Antiques Roadshow, next time from Shelburne Museum in Vermont.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
Historical symbols have a lot to say about who we were and who we have become as a people in this country. But our collective memory is shaped by who is doing the history telling.
And I just go like that, and the ball would go all the way over the green monster. Sylvester Stallone, and I'm in his shoes.
At a time when America has become increasingly divided, it's important to consider the things that connect us.
Wednesday at 10 on WOUB.
People ask, what was the American strategy? The Americans did not have a strategy for Afghanistan.
Drawing on years of reporting from both sides of the war.
You set off a car bomb, it's going to kill innocent civilians.
This was fighting.
It wasn't clear they had the patience or the understanding.
We asked an enormous amount of those on the ground in particular.
Missteps and miscalculations.
Why did we fail on our mission, and who was responsible?
Part 3 premieres Tuesday, April 25th, 10/9 Central, only on PBS.
Similar to enrollment trends on Ohio University's main campus, enrollment at branch campuses across Ohio have seen a decline. NewsWatch reporter Jack Demler joins us to tell us about the concerns with regional campuses.
Thanks, Andre. Regional campuses have had drastic drop in enrollment over the years, especially at Ohio University's branch campuses. To get a better understanding of the importance of regional education, I talked to students at Ohio University branch campuses to hear what draws them to these other areas for higher education. Affordability and accessibility are the 2 main factors that draw students to regional campuses like Ohio University Lancaster.
I really enjoy the affordability and the one-on-one with my professors. That's something I've always looked for when I was looking for, post-graduation education.
Annual tuition and fees for the regional campuses at Ohio University are about $6,000. That's about $7,000 cheaper than the tuition and fees at Ohio University's main campus. Not only does Michael attend a branch campus for the affordable price,
I'm also a citizen of Lancaster, so, it's really just right around the block for me. So it was just really easy access and great education.
Students also enjoy the small class sizes that branch campuses have to offer. Sarah Rowan, a junior at Lancaster, said the small class sizes allow for a more personal relationship with her professors.
Like at the bigger school, there's a lot more kids. Here you're one-on-one with your teachers a lot.
And while the affordability, accessibility, and class size drive Michael and Sarah to branch campuses, It's the opportunity to learn at a higher level that keeps them enrolled.
Wanting to grow in my field really has kept me here, that I want to reach a goal that I've set for myself.
Despite regional campuses providing a more affordable and accessible way to attend college, over the last 6 years, enrollment at Ohio University's 5 branch campuses have each seen dramatic decrease in numbers. Here's the breakdown of the drop in enrollment at each of the regional campuses. Overall, total undergraduate enrollment dropped by 45.5% in the regional campus system between 2016 and 2022. University administration attribute the drop in enrollment to nationwide demographic trends and the health of the U.S. economy. Vice President for Enrollment and Management Candace Bowinger says the university is committed to regional campuses and is stepping up recruitment efforts by putting dedicated staff at each location.
Having a professional who understands what's on the minds of high school students who are considering college, the employer segment of the economy and sort of what they need in the workforce, marrying those two together is a really important component of long-term enrollment planning. And so we've been able to invest in having that staff on each of the campuses who work in conjunction with the Athens campus folks, but they are dedicated to each of those communities that they serve.
Bowinger says they are also addressing regional campus enrollment by creating standalone undergraduate certificates that are aligned with the needs of the workforce at each region they are located, as well as the needs of the state. Lexi?
Thanks, Jack. Intel has invested millions of dollars into higher education in Ohio. This all part of the company's efforts to build a workforce for its new plant in Southeast Ohio. The issue of finding qualified workers in this field isn't a new one, but some say Intel's investment could help solve it.
There really is a fantastic change going on in Ohio right now.
Eric Steinoff, Ohio University professor and department chair, is one of the leaders behind Ascent, Appalachian semiconductor education and technical ecosystem. Ohio University is one of 8 institutions chosen for Intel's semiconductor education and research program in the state.
The grant itself provides $1 million a year for 3 years to basically build an ecosystem to provide pathways and opportunities for people in the region to gain skills that they would need to enter not just the semiconductor industry, but the high-tech industry is going to be built around the semiconductor industry.
Led by OU, Ascent collaborates with other local institutions to offer hands-on experiences like the robots in this Hawking College classroom, all in an effort to prepare students for high-tech jobs like the thousands being offered at the new Intel plant and the already existing manufacturers in Ohio.
It's not just going to be Intel, it's going to be their suppliers. Honda's going to have an advanced battery manufacturing plant. So there really is a fantastic change going on in Ohio right now.
Ohio is home to nearly 700,000 manufacturing jobs, behind only California and Texas. But employers are struggling to fill these jobs. Ascent partner and director of workforce development at Hawking College, Adam Fowler, thinks misconceptions about the industry are to blame.
Manufacturing isn't a dirty job. You know, automotive technician is not a dirty job anymore. They're very technical jobs, and they pay a very good, sustainable living wage.
Fowler says the flexibility of many certificate and degree programs being offered through Ascent will make it more attractive and accessible to prospective students.
You've got multiple exit ramps. You can either leave after the certificate and go to work and then return later for more education. You can leave after the 2-year degree, pursue the 4-year degree.
Steinoff wants people to know that they may be more qualified than they think.
That's one thing I would like to get across is that, you know, someone who's been working in heating, ventilation, AC, or plumbing probably has the foundational skills to work at Intel. So a lot of people have the skills, and I think getting them to recognize that they could see themselves at Intel will be important.
The first class of Ascent students will begin this upcoming fall. Steinoff hopes they will be graduating students from the program in time for Intel's opening in 2025.
The Ascent program will begin at Ohio University this upcoming fall. Steinoff hopes that they can continue to recruit and build the program up. The university has applied for additional grants and funding from the state.
I'm joined by Taylor Burnett, host and producer of The Outlet, our podcast on campus and community. The Outlet will have a special edition on tonight's show where we'll have all tonight's stories on the show, on the episode.
We absolutely will, Andre. If you're interested in more in-depth WOUB stories on the go, in your car, on a jog, you can find The Outlet on SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
Thank you. A U.S. Supreme Court decision may change what diversity of college students looks like across America. What this means for us in Ohio, that story still ahead.
People ask, what was the American strategy? The Americans did not have a strategy for Afghanistan.
Drawing on years of reporting from both sides of the war.
You set off a car bomb, it's going to kill innocent civilians.
This was fighting.
It wasn't clear they had the patience or the understanding.
We asked an enormous amount of those on the ground in particular.
Missteps and miscalculations.
Why did we fail on our mission, and who was responsible?
Part 3 premieres Tuesday, April 25th, 10/9 Central, only on PBS.
ALS causes the degeneration of the neurons that control muscle movement.
We don't quit. That's our motto.
What I do for my wife, I do it because I love her, and no one can do this alone.
My hope is it goes from being a fatal disease to a chronic disease that you can live with.
Matter of Mind, My ALS. Monday, May 1st at 10/9 Central on Independent Lens.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, when your family inheritance is more than a sentimental keepsake.
The family lore has always been that these were painted by Charles Wilson Peale.
The market for portraiture in general seems to be a little bit soft, but there are exceptions, and these would be an exception.
This has been in my family for 4 generations.
It's a great piece of folk art.
It's Antiques Roadshow, next time from Shelburne Museum in Vermont.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
Historical symbols have a lot to say about who we were and who we have become as a people in this country. But our collective memory is shaped by who is doing the history telling.
And I just go like that, and the ball would go all the way over the green monster. Sylvester Stallone, and I'm in his shoes.
At a time when America has become increasingly divided, it's important to consider the things that connect us.
Wednesday at 10 on WOUB.
The U.S. Supreme Court is considering a ruling that would restrict universities from using affirmative action as part of their application decision process.
NewsWatch reporter Silver Barker has more on what this means.
Thank you both. Yes, this summer, the United States Supreme Court will decide if colleges and universities can use race as a factor in their admissions process. The court heard arguments in October on 2 cases regarding affirmative action. Both cases stem from lawsuits from the anti-affirmative action group Students for Fair Admissions. The group sued the University of North Carolina in 2021 and Harvard University in 2014. Lower courts have ruled in favor of both universities. Both cases are considering the issue of whether the court should overrule Grutter v. Bollinger and hold that institutions of higher education cannot use race as a factor in admissions. In the Harvard case, the court is also considering whether the university violated the Civil Rights Act. The SFFA alleges that Harvard College is not considering race-neutral alternatives. Similarly, in the UNC case, the court is looking at whether universities can reject race-neutral alternatives if it meant changing the structure of the student body. We asked Ohio University how a ruling eliminating affirmative action would affect the university, but they declined to comment on the issue before the court. Meanwhile, in Ohio, the upcoming Supreme Court decision is not the only thing that could impact higher education. Ohio Senate Bill 83, also known as the Ohio Higher Education Enhancement Act, is a bill that could reshape campus life if passed. Recently introduced this year, the bill deals with a number of different aspects in higher education. It would ban all diversity and inclusion training and programs along with affinity groups and affirmative action. In the classroom, it would prohibit any teaching around controversial beliefs and policies, such as climate change, electoral politics, foreign policy, diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, immigration policy, marriage, or abortion. The bill would ban all academic partnerships with China, discontinuing study abroad programs. The legislation states institutions may not accept gifts, donations, or contributions from China or any organization or individual who may be acting on behalf of China. The bill also requires universities to post their course syllabi after Board of Trustee approval to submit to the Chancellor of Higher Education every 3 years. The bill would not allow college faculties to strike or partake in any collective bargaining. The third hearing of the bill took place last week as it has not yet been passed by Senate.
Thank you, Silver. Ohio University made history earlier this year by choosing a woman as the next president of OU. What you need to know about the incoming president, that story when we come back.
And also, stay tuned to WUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, when your family inheritance is more than a sentimental keepsake.
The family lore has always been that these were painted by Charles Willson Peale.
The market for portraiture in general seems to be a little bit soft, but there are exceptions, and these would be an exception.
This has been in my family for 4 generations.
It's a great piece of folk art.
It's Antiques Roadshow, next time from Shelburne Museum in Vermont.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
I'm gobsmacked, actually.
Unfinding Your Roots, Diane von Furstenberg.
He never talked about the darkness, not to me.
Narciso Rodriguez.
This is nothing that anyone has ever spoken about.
Andrew Paul.
My father veered towards the bright side of things.
3 icons of style.
Oh my God.
Find ancestors who sacrificed.
He lived in a cave.
That's unbelievable.
And survived.
It's too much. Too much.
Finding Your Roots.
Tuesday at 8 on WOUB.
Here's what's new this month with Passport.
Once upon a time in Merry England, there lived a boy called Tom.
We've got time, but maybe Christian doesn't.
More resilient in the natural world must be the key.
These and all your favorite shows are available with Passport. Support your PBS station and stream more with Passport on the PBS app.
Historical symbols have a lot to say about who we were and who we have become as a people in this country. But our collective memory is shaped by who is doing the history telling.
And I just go like that, and the ball would go all the way over the green monster. Sylvester Stallone, and I'm in his shoes.
In a time when America has become increasingly divided, it's important to consider the things that connect us.
Wednesday at 10 on WOUB.
During this special, we've talked about a lot of challenges Ohio University and other universities are facing. There's going to be a new leader at Ohio University who's going to have to deal with these problems. Dr. Laura Stewart Gonzalez is set to become the university's 23rd president starting July 1st with 3 priorities: student success, taking care of people at OU, and firm university financials. This comes after the Board of Trustees unanimously approved of Gonzalez serving as the next president. The president-elect was born and raised in Appalachia and will be the first woman to lead the university. She will come to Ohio University from the University of Louisville, where she served as executive vice president. Gonzalez has a background in health sciences, and current university president Hugh Sherman says this is a plus since a third of students are enrolled in health science programs at Ohio University. The president-elect acknowledges the problems the university is facing today, and she believes OU will overcome them.
We are at an inflection point in higher education because of changing demographics, changing attitudes about higher education. So you're going to need an institution that has a strong foundation to weather that storm and actually come out ahead. And that's the reason that I looked at Ohio University. All the assets that we have here will let us really have a bright future for decades and decades to come.
Now, we attempted to reach out to Gonzalez, but the university communication says she is focusing on finishing her work in Louisville and will be taking interviews over the summer.
I really look forward to seeing those interviews because tonight we obviously brought up a lot of really important topics that I'd love to hear what she has to say about them.
Yeah, me too. Yes.
Absolutely. Well, that does it for our special broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For all of us here at NewsWatch, I'm Lexi Lepoff.
And I'm Andre Knowles. Be sure to stay tuned to the PBS NewsHour coming up next. To rewatch, listen, or read any of the content from tonight, go to WUB.org and follow us on social media at NewsWatch_WUB. Have a great night.
Support comes from Visit Athens County. More information can be found at AthensOhio.com. Athens, it's more than a place.